Well, before the start of the Tata Steel chess tournament, Arjun Erigaisi had promised his trainer that he would score 10.5 points out of 13. And there he is as the champion of the event with 10.5 points and no losses at all. With this, he books himself a spot in the Tata Steel Masters, which is gonna take place the next year. So, guys, today we're gonna explore the last game of Arjun, which made him the Tata Steel Chess Challengers champion, and he won an amazing game against a French GM where he simply grinded a win out of a completely drawn possession. Well, he finished the event 2 points ahead of the fields, and the second is on 8.5 points. So, without any further ado, let's pull up on your screen the boards. Well, so this is the live board, and Arjun and the French GM Marzi Marc Andrea. I'm sorry if I pronounced the name wrong. And he began the game with 1d4. We have knight to f6 and c4, e6, knight c3, and bishop to b4. Well, this is actually known as the Nimzo Indian defense, and we saw this in the Vidit versus Prag game as well, where I think Vidit played queen to c2, stopping knight to e4, and the game continued. What Mazdi did, what he played the move knight to f3, which is equally famous. Short castles, and now we have bishop to g5, pinning this knight out here. He played the move c5, rook c1, and after a6, you hit back the bishop, and now you play knight d, and strike back in the center with the move d5. Now what d5 does is that it challenges the center and threatens to take on c5. Well, you have to take here cd, and now you take the bishop on c3. A knight on c3 with the bishop. For those wondering why, the reason is very simple. You want to take here with the queen, but it is not a very great idea currently because of this knight. Although this knight cannot capture here, but it is always a menace for black. Not only that, after queen d4, d5 here, bishop captures on f6 simply is making matters worse for black, because the king side structure is definitely weak, and this knight is also threatening the queen once this king castles. So therefore, bishop f6, bishop captures on c3 was a very necessary move, eliminating this knight. And then after rook c3, you play g5, removing this bishop from this diagonal as well. The bishop moves back to g3, and now you play queen d5. So the idea is there is no threats from any of white's pieces, so queen d5 is a safe move as of now. f3 was played, offering this pawn for free. Now for those wondering why did Arjun didn't take this pawn and played the move e5, we'll go into that. Let's say you play the move queen captures on a2. Okay, queen captures on a2. But now what white will do is he's gonna play the passive move queen c1. Now what queen c1 achieves is that it attacks the bishop on c8. You have to defend it with the knight move or the bishop move. Let's say you move the knight to d7, unleashing the defense of the two rooks on this. Well, we could now have the move e4, and after queen to a5, knight b3 back, and the queen moves. h4 is the move which gives white a near to winning advantage. Just these series of moves can prove very deadly for black. Therefore, the pawn on a2 is definitely not for free, and Arjun didn't capture that. What he did was he played the move. After f3, what he did was he played the move e5. Now definitely the queens are gonna be off the board. He played knight b3, and the queen is taken. He took back, and now this position is completely drawn. And if the game reaches to its logical conclusion, this should be a draw. Well, we'll watch it out. e4, and after knight back to d2, he played rook e1. Well, we have a series of exchanges here, and now there's no hurry to take this pawn. Therefore, you play the move knight to c6. Now knight c6 develops a piece, and this pawn is not gonna go anywhere. Well, if you think a move like rook to c5, rook to c4 could be defending this, then you are mistaken, because after bishop e6, it is black again who is on the cards. Therefore, after knight to c6, we have e3 from Amoriza, and now you take this pawn. Well, the bishop moves to d3, you move it back, and after bishop moves to b5, you remove this pin here with a check on d1. The king moves, and now knight to b4, threatening this here, so that a move like a3 would simply fail to knight to a2 check. What Morita did was that he played the move bishop c4. Now we have bishop to f4, and now once we played the move rook to f1, the bishop moved back, he took it, and this position also seems completely drawn. Okay, we have king to b1, rook f8, rook c1, and we all have normal move. Now rook f2, f7 was the move because you wanted to defend this. Rook b1 is not possible, nor is moving the pawn possible because this knight is hanging. Therefore, rook f7 was played, and it also later helped black to keep the pawns on the queen side safely. Okay, so we have now so rook to d1. He played rook d8, and the rooks are also off the board. After which we have a3, king f3. So let's move a bit fast forward here in the end game. And okay, so here h4 was played, offering this pawn. So let's say you take it, but then you lose to king f4 because of this king attacks this rook, and so does this pawn. Therefore, he moved the bishop back, and now king to f3, defend f6, defending this pawn. h3, king e7, rook d1, e5, b4, king e6, and b5. Knight moved back, and we had a few maneuvers with the knight. Okay, so b3, defending this here. Bishop d2, and he moved the knight back to f6. Now he played the move a4 here, and we have knight to e4, offering a trade of the bishops. Well, everyone thought that this position was completely drawn after bishop e1 and king d5. Well, here is when the twist in the game arrives. He played the move rook a to c8. Now what Arjun did, that he tried to repeat the position with king to e6. After king e6, he played check, king d5, and after rook c8 back, he could have gone to king e6, after which rook c6 check, king here, rook back, and this would have ended the game with a draw. But Arjun was not really interested in a draw, and what he did here in this position was not king back to e6, but he played knight to g6 check, knight to g3 check, which at least forces white to continue the game. He played king d3, and now pawn to e4 check. King c3 was played, and after knight e1, he attacks this pawn because this pawn is not going to be defended. He takes here, and now after check, he took the pawn on e6. Now I like you guys to pause the video and find the move for white which holds the game for him. Okay, so once you guys are back with the solution, if you found the move rook captures on b4, b5, I'm really sorry for you because that's not the move. Yes, that's not the move. The move here is not rook captures on b5, but the move bishop to c3. Yes, the move, the idea behind it is that you stop the king from coming to the e4 square, and this pawn, there's no way to save it, so this is definitely going to be yours. But what Morita missed was bishop to c3, and he played rook captures on g5, which allowed the king to come to e4. And now it was just a matter of time before Arjun converted this game. b3 he took here, and now this d pawn is definitely not gonna stop. The knight comes to e4, he takes the pawn, and although the pawns are equal, once again this pawn is gonna be queening very soon. King a5 was played, and now he advances the pawn on e3. Knight moves, knight gives the check, knight comes to e4, blocking square on e7 because you don't want to rook the come here and defend this. The king moves here, and now he pushed the pawn, after which we had rook captures on a7. And the last move in the game, a brilliancy from Arjun, rook to c3. There you go, that's a brilliant move. Rook c3, after which Morita resigned the game, making Arjun the champion of the Tata Steel Chess Challengers. So that's it guys, I hope you enjoyed this game. A great positional grind by Arjun, after his opponent couldn't spot the move bishop to c3. Well, another brilliancy in every game. Well, every video we make, there is a brilliancy at the last of the video. If you guys are noticing that. Well, anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you want any more games to be covered, you could definitely drop them in the comments. Congratulations to Arjun for becoming the champion. And with this, he has booked himself a spot in the Tata Steel Masters next year. Well, many people were also asking about the giveaway contest. So let me tell them that the winners are going to be announced very soon in another video, which will be dedicated for the winners of the giveaway. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.